I'm still buzzing off of the H.P. Lovecraft episode that we did last night. And, you know, if you're like, where's the H.P. Lovecraft episode? I got to go find that right now. It's not out yet. It's going to be out on our Substack later this week, rarecandy.substack.com. It's part of the Game of Fiction program. And I was just thinking about, you know, how he created the mythos, you know, that anybody can write in. Like, you can write your own Cthulhu kind of fiction in the mythos, and it's kind of like all good, I guess, if you do that. So I was thinking about, like, what if they're, you know, I can't remember the last good Stephen King novel, you know? Like, it's just he hasn't really had a classic. He's definitely coming out with books where Republicans don't take life-saving medical treatment and die in the hospital. They do. He does things like that. Big time metaphor. Metaphor for something, and I'm not getting it. What he's trying to get at. But I'm thinking, like, he could maybe dust off the Cthulhu mythos or just even the Lovecraft mythos, and kind of get back, because I miss Stephen King.
That'd be an instant Game of Fiction classic.
Hopefully with him, I'd go to Maine or wherever the hell he lives. I mean, maybe we could meet up in Providence, in P-Town. You know what I mean? HP Town, and Howard Providence Lovecraft. But so what I was thinking though is just we could sell him this story. Okay, so it's the year 2500, and a professor is realizing that the world wasn't always this post-apocalyptic wasteland of where climate change has happened. There's been cataclysm after cataclysm, and the earth is like Mad Max wasteland. And he realizes that, like, well, let me go check out like Antarctica or something. Like, he might get out like a book or something that's like, wow, the world used to be like, we used to have like democracy and stuff. Yeah. And like we used to, like, women used to be able to like have the right to choose and things. Yeah. And they could vote. Like, this is crazy. And he's going back, and but he realizes, like, you know, it's in classic Lovecraft form. It's like, hey man, watch out. Maybe watch out how much you uncover. Watch out, because he's gonna, you know, all his trials and tribulations and his researching is gonna take him back to this big vault that he finds. And it's like, how does this vault here? It doesn't add up. This doesn't make any sense. Like, how could this big vault be here? Like, in this wasteland? Why is it all icy now? I thought the earth melted. Like, this is crazy. And he opens up the vault, and there's this monster that comes out. It's this thing that should not be. And it's an orange man.
Yeah. Is he bad?
Yeah, he's about 6'4". He lies about his height and weight, that he's like an NFL linebacker.
Yeah.
You know?
Or
like DK Metcalf or something like that. Like, you know, he lies about that because he lies about everything. Yeah. And he's a criminal. And the thing is, I can't even describe it or even say the guy's name that I'm thinking of. That, like,
it's like Voldemort, dude. Yeah.
Not even that, but it's like you can't even imagine what this guy actually is. And then it's gonna be the twist is that guy actually ran the country.
Yeah, that's why it's like it is now.
Right, exactly.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane by the visit Glen Rock, and crypto told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix with that rare candy paint job on the whip. Who you with?
The fucking. I'm just thinking of Donald Trump riffraff lines. Could have played for the Steelers, but they, you know, like that.
yeah.
Could have played for the Pistons. Don't get it twisted.
He does look 6'4", 230. Like, I don't. Yeah, people have always people like to point at that is like he's lying. It's like, no, when you don't work out and like do like things like that, you know, if you aren't like a supreme athlete, that's kind of what 6'4", 230 looks like sometimes.
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe he's 240, 250. Let him cook.
It's like, you know, it's gone to seed a little bit, you know.
Yeah. It's fine. I always laugh. It's like, he's obviously a big guy. Yeah. You know, he's obviously like a large orange man, you know, according to this. But no, that's that anyways, looking forward to that episode. It's the mythos that creates story upon story for how the world is the way that it is. But speaking of Lovecraftian nihilism or I hear people say nihilism. Brady Sinella says nihilism. I'm like, is that really how you say it? That's kind of odd. I've never heard of that. But
yeah, I think it's like a British way of doing it. You know?
Yeah, of course he would do the British way.
Cop that. Yep.
Yeah. The guy from LA would say that. But
exactly.
no. I one of a very good Twitter follow at Hot Spastic. Dennis, he's an Australian guy, big time basketball guy. But he's been around the show for a while. He posted something that I thought was really funny, and it was one of those like weird posts, like I don't know if this is like 4chan or something, where they do like that greater than sign and they like list all the things that they did. So this is about somebody taking LSD and losing their mind, but not in the way you and I would think. So all right, so you'll have to, if you're on like internet speak, this is going to sound weird to you, but I have to read it verbatim. Be me 3 months ago. Took 400 milligrams of LSD. Realize the absolute meaningless of life and insignificance of humans in the grand, never-ending cosmos. Love is nothing more than just brain chemicals tricking us into breeding and continuing our species. Friendships and relationships only exist to cope with the loneliness in this bizarre existence that we call life. Currency, jobs, society, they are all human-made illusions and are not real. In fact, nothing is real. Everyone lives in his own personal reality constructed by his own brain. The last 3 months have been hard. I feel like I've discovered something I should have never seen. Being this aware of my own existence is exhausting. I wish to kill myself free of this, free my consciousness from this flesh prison and find eternal peace in the void. So not only did you take LSD and then become H.P. Lovecraft is amazing, by the way, but then also like, as Dennis said, the reason I saw this is because Dennis posted it. I have to give him credit for it. He says, imagine your psychedelic takeaway being more materialism.
Yeah, that's all I could think about that whole time.
That's literally Sam Harris, though, right? Like, that's literally...
Exactly, yeah. Whoa, it's all just chemicals and shit, dude. Yeah, exactly.
But I
think people are just wired. It's just like anything else. It just enhances how you're already kind of wired, which is kind of a black pill for psychedelics, because there are cases. You think that everyone... There's those cases of like the CEO, like the millionaire New York City CEO guy that does shrooms, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a hippie now. I'm like a barefoot hippie, grows dreads, and like legit changes his life." But that's like that's actually a pretty small minority of people. Yeah, I know that. I was like friends with this guy who was friends with this other guy. He was telling me, he's like, he went to med school and like was dropping acid every day and was just like the biggest fag, dude. And it's like God damn it, dude. Like what is going on in that? Yeah.
No, it's like when people tell you to like, well, first off, I was thinking about the guy you're saying, like the Fortune 500 guy, like, getting dreads and then, after taking acid and, realizing the true meaning of everything. But then it'd be funny if he found that out, but then all of his investors and seed money pulled out because he was doing cultural appropriation for having dreads.
Yeah.
They're like,
well, we like the drug takes, just the hairstyle is a little bit too much for us right now.
Perhaps the Peaky Blinders haircut. Perhaps
Peaky
just seems more suitable to your 23andMe results that I'm looking at right now. But we're going to get you right back to the episode. But I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode. But exactly. I don't know. For me, like, it didn't make me see the world different. I just only made me see flaws in myself, which is good and powerful. I think a bad trip is good. I mean, I've talked about my really bad trip on here, but like, so I don't need to rehash that. But I don't look back at that as like I hate that I had a bad trip.
Yeah. No, I think the worst. I feel that the more that if you're the type of guy that's like, man, that thing sucks. They showed me it was a bad time. It's like, well, like dig into it a little bit, right? And like see what happened there, where you blame the drug itself. All that, and for sure, some people shouldn't be doing drugs. We've all had, but then there's the other guy who's like worse. He's like keeps having bad trips, and he's just like, really, they are the best trips. Really, they're the good one, and you're like, dude, you need to chill.
This shit ain't for you, man.
Yeah. I've known both guys, it's just for sure. Dude.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I've known.
Or they're like, ooh, that was a struggle. That last one was a struggle, and you could tell they just got fucked in the head, dude. And it's like, woo, man, that was some crazy shit, man. Yeah,
it's like the guy who's like limping off the field and doesn't want the cart for the clearly torn ACL. He's like, man, it hurts.
Yeah.
You're like, no, you tore your ACL. Yeah,
just gonna rub some dirt on it.
It's really bad, actually, what you have. The best kind of thing is like it's a very unsatisfying answer, but you ever have that friend who like does a lot of drugs or like psychedelics, but then their answer is just like, nah, it was sick. Yeah, it was tight. And it was just last weekend. Yeah, it was just last weekend I did a bunch of acid. They're like, yeah, like what did you see? And he's like, just cool shit. Just a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, it's the more chill you are with it, the cooler it is. Yeah. I feel like I got out just in time for me, Yeah. You probably you probably saw it from afar. I feel like I avoided most of the one time I did shrooms, and the main message was like, dude, stop doing us, dude.
Yeah. There's other mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
There's so many.
Brings us to a main topic of this episode. I don't know if you're ready to talk.
I am ready. So let me intro this, because I think there's been a few people that like to comment and be like, oh, that was an old clip that you guys are talking about. I know. Every clip, the Rick Rubin one that we did, it was a very good thing. I know that was old. It just, these things resurface. People, they pop up again, and it's like, look, it should be no surprise that things you say 4 to 5 years ago pop back up from time to time. Like that does happen. That seems there's an economy built around that, actually, is digging those things up. So this guy's name is what? Paul Stamets?
Paul Stamets, yeah.
Paul Stamets. You know more about this guy than I do. You've talked about him on here a little bit, but I don't know that we've talked about him a lot.
I've met him. Seen him live, yeah.
Seen him live. Yeah. Cornell 77.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he looks like fucking Jerry Garcia too. That's a big deadhead. He's definitely a deadhead for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if there ever was one. But so this is from the Joe Rogan podcast, probably about 3 to 4 years ago, I would guess. Where he's talking about and this is a clip that people clip to say like how look at the riveting conversations happening on the Joe Rogan podcast, Dr. Joe Rogan podcast, This is just always a gotcha moment. Now, this clip, I did make me laugh, but I'd like to know, is there something to it? So this is about a mushroom, but not a mushroom that we've talked about at all on here, I don't think. This is a new mushroom. Guys, get ready.
Well, they taste too good. They can't be that good for you.
Portobellos have a problem.
I knew it.
All mushrooms should be cooked, and portobellos in particular should be cooked at high temperatures.
Why?
There is a unfortunate group of compound called agarotines. So you should cook them, and if you cook them well, then those mushrooms are not a problem. If you don't cook them well, then these hydrazines are potentially problematic. So there are beneficial compounds that, in some balance, may outweigh the negative effects of the hydrazines.
What are the negative benefit or the negative effects of this?
This is an explosive area of conversation, and it puts my life in danger. So I reserve the right not to answer your question.
Whoa, I didn't expect that. Puts your life in danger talking about portobello mushrooms? He's looking at me silently. I will respectfully move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, no, for not harping on that. I mean, it's funny. Do you know what the portobello mushroom conspiracy is?
Yeah, well, there's a couple angles here. The first thing is the agarotines. So first of all, portobellos are just they're a form of agaricus. Agaricus bisporus is the white button mushroom that grows in, that you get in stores. And also the cremini is kind of I think it's either the exact same thing or related species, but subspecies. It's the same thing basically. And portobellos are just grown up creminis basically. So it's all just the same strain of mushroom. I know agaritines there's a big thing about cooking them, but also I've seen all mushrooms are refrigerated, and refrigeration actually takes the agaritines down as well. I don't think all the way. You still want to cook them, but the hydrazines he's talking about, it's like a form of like rocket propellant, like jet fuel, basically. And it's also found in these mushrooms, certain mushrooms. Mushrooms are just chemical factories to the nth degree. Each one has its own unique stuff going on, good and bad, right? It's pretty fucking wild. But I think that's the pun he was trying to make. This is an explosive area of conversation. Referencing the explosive nature of the hydrazines, which are rocket fuel, basically. But they're carcinogenic. They're DNA mutagenic. And I think they're destroyed by cooking. But I think the deeper conspiracy is that there's some heavy, like the mushroom industry, because the thing about it, it's all the same strain. It's all the same species of mushroom.
Yeah.
That it's basically run by like either the mob or a mob, basically. And if you talk shit about these mushrooms being bad for you, or if it gets exposed that these mushrooms in every single grocery store, it'd be like the Pfizer vaccine being proven to be contaminated with DNA, like on that level of where you can't talk about it because it's such an earth shattering, because it'd be like if Red Bull was found to cause cancer or something. Like, probably does, right. But you know what I mean? But it's in every fucking 7-Eleven everywhere. It's just like with these mushrooms. I think he's being way too dramatic about it and weird. But yeah, I don't think it's that big a deal. I think
a good Netflix, or not Netflix, but kind of like a good fictional novelization of this would be the assassin that works for the portobello industry, the mushroom industry, guy that like sneaks in, you know what I mean? He's got like almost like a mushroom print camouflage shirt that he's hiding out in the bushes and stuff like that. And he's just like, he's like, God, what am I killing these people for? You know, like, am I really, like, is it really that serious? He's like, it was just a job, but at some point you realize all the blood that's been shed over portobellos. I feel like
his body count's like 187.
187. I know. He asked his buddies that work for like, the superfood kale company. Like, and he's like, how many people have you killed? And the guy's like 12. Like, what? What? 12? He's like, that was this month for me. Like I still haven't even gotten Stamets.
Exactly. Think about Paul. Can I riff on Paul?
I would love to hear about. I
got a couple. First
Paul
of all,
McCartney, Stamets.
Yeah, exactly. He loves this.
Who is he? Who is he?
He's.
What does he do? Why do we know about him? Why is he a
mycologist? Yeah, he's a mycologist, but he's also like a hobbyist, and I mean that as a compliment. Is that he's not. I think his brother, he comes from a really smart family. His brother went to Yale, all this stuff, and they're all like super into science. And he just kind of was the weird one that was into mushrooms and stuff. But he's like, so he like Charles Darwin was a hobbyist, right? But he revolutionized science because he was just noticed shit that other people weren't allowed to notice or couldn't notice or weren't creative enough. So he's that level of like where he's not like and I think he does publish papers and stuff, but importantly, he's kind of slightly outside that mainstream. And I like him. I have some issues with him. And he was cool when I met him, and he actually gave a really good talk. And it was actually after pardon me. Sorry. Anyway, so it was during a time of my life when I was getting really into this stuff, and it was right after we saw this Rogan thing, and then I got to see him, and he was kind of like really hitting his stride and going fully mainstream, and he loves this military type of shit. He loves all this drama of like, oh yeah, I was fucking at my lab studying psilocybin, and then these 2 military Apache helicopters landed on my lawn, and they're like, hand over the shrooms, like that type of thing.
Right.
I think, and his whole thing is like, we need to study mushrooms for the for the sake of our national defense and stuff. You know, like it was very like really just really intense with that kind of shit. Also, I think he bought land in Canada when Trump got elected because he's like, oh, they might stop me from studying fucking mushroom. You know,
I remember
like
that on Trump's platform is to stop all mushroom stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
dude. So he's like, you know, he's like one of those guys. But my main beef with him, and again, I like him in general, but he has this mushroom company called Host Defense, and he's leveraged his extreme popularity in the mushroom field to create a mushroom company. And because of his fame, he's able to get it into every Whole Foods. You could go to any Whole Foods in the world, find his mushrooms everywhere. You know, every hippie store, every co-op, everything has Host Defense mushrooms. And he's very clear. I think he said in that Joe Rogan episode, he was like, you don't want to get your mushrooms from China and you want to get a mycelium extract because you can't trust the Chinese because they'll be contaminated with heavy metals. It's a very dirty country, blah, blah, blah. And you want the mycelium. And so, you know, the mycelium is, if you know anything about mushrooms, it's like the root structure of the mushrooms.
Right.
The analogy. So when you're cultivating mushrooms, you literally grow it on grain spawn like brown rice or rye berries or oats or something, right? And largely it's the much weaker fraction of the mushroom is in the mycelium most of the time. Whereas you want like the Ronnie Dean Thomas, what he talked about on our show, where he's like, no, you got to get the fruiting body, aka the actual fucking mushroom, and you got to extract it so you can digest it 10-1, right? So that's the gold standard for mushrooms. And Stamets is out there telling everyone, no, you just got to do the mycelium. And there are some specific examples where mycelium may be on par or maybe a little better, but 9 times out of 10, you want the fruiting body mushroom. That's where all the compounds are for any mushroom, for cordyceps, for anything like that. So he's not only is he charging, you know, like he's charging like $60 a bottle for this. It's ground up brown rice mushroom roots, basically. Not extracted at all. It's just 50% starch. It's literally 50% rice in a little capsule, not even like a Dean Thomas Chad jar where you get to fucking load it into a into a fucking Dumbledore mug, and you know what I mean? So I think he's and he knows better. He's the mushroom expert. So I think he's scamming people. I literally, you know, I like
Paul Stamets.
Yeah, and so in this particular regard, he's making hand over fist because it's so easy to grow hundreds of pounds of mycelium in like a week, and then you could just fucking dry it, powder it up, put it in a capsule, charge people $65 for it. And there are other mushroom experts that aren't as famous as him that run mushroom companies that do a dual extraction, 10-1, fruiting body, the whole 9 yards. Much more expensive to do it that way, but much more ethical. And they're all kind of like scared to go after him. But I've listened to a couple mushroom podcasts like back in the day where they're just they dance around the issue and they won't name him by name, but it's very obvious they're talking about him. And they're like, dude, what is he doing? Like,
what if he's the guy with all the killers on his?
I think he is, dude. I swear to God. Yeah. And I'd love for him to come on our show, Rare Candy, and defend himself. But I don't know. He won't. You know, it's like dude, like I said, it's like yeah, it's kind of that's my Mercola Ray Pete at proestrogen progesterone. That's my fucking hill I'll die on right there, dude. Is the Paul Stamets, dude. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like I'm like he should know. He should know better. And the China thing, the whole oh, mushrooms are dirty, and it's like, dude, you get lab tested mushrooms in China that show 0 heavy metals, and you're good, dude. They're experts at growing mushrooms. They've been growing them for fucking 80,000 years over there. Yeah. So anyway, that's my main thing. Don't trust. And so the thing that pisses me off is I'll talk to people about mushrooms that are into health, but they're not as hip on the whole mushroom scene, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I went and got some reishi from Whole Foods. Didn't really feel it." And I'm like, "Which brand?" They're like, "Oh, Host Defense. You know, that's the one the guy recommended for me." And it's like, yeah, it's bullshit, dude. It's a bullshit product. So
that's crazy that they're upselling his product at Whole Foods.
Yeah, he's grandfathered in, dude. He's like, you know, he's in there. You know, they got these. They sell a bunch of them, not really doing anything inside of people's actual bodies for a beneficial effect. At least not the reishi. You know,
what if he's installing a tracking device in you?
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't do anything, but it's a tracking device, and
well, his whole thing. Another thing about that episode, he's obsessed with like patents. He's like, I got this patent on this mushroom, and I got this patent on that, which is kind of weird for like a hippie, like life,
kind of a red flag.
Yeah, so there are a lot of red flags with Stamets, and I would love to talk with him. I would chop it out. I wouldn't hate. We would ask him this stuff directly, but again, there's just too many weird things with the Stamets thing.
Just too many weird things. Too many weird things. But can I talk about the thing that I'm pissed off about? Not pissed off, but it's something that I feel the need to discuss. It's nothing new, although if you scope out on pop culture and Hollywood and movie making, if you span the 100 and some odd years that movies have been made, it is a new thing. It's called the intimacy coordinator. This is these are, if you ask people, the average movie watcher, what an intimacy coordinator does on a movie set, they don't know. They'd be like, well, I don't know anything about film. Like, they don't know what a key grip does a lot of times either. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, perhaps the intimacy coordinator ensures that there's a key grip, if you know what I'm saying. Dude, but perhaps, the most of them don't know. However, normies are so Me Too, Harvey Weinstein deranged now because of the years post Me Too, that if you then tell them what an intimacy coordinator is, and it's the first time they hear it, and then they say, oh, that's good, I'm glad they have that. Because why would you be against somebody making sure rape doesn't happen in the movie? I have no idea. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because Jennifer Aniston, OG, you know what I mean? She's been around, pre-intimacy coordinator. And they asked, I guess there was an interview, and she was asked, or on set they asked on her show, The Morning Show, which is like an Apple show that she has with Reese Witherspoon, I think, where they actually have like a morning TV show. It's like based around like a morning TV show. And they were asked, do you want an intimacy coordinator? And she says, well, I'm from the old days. So I was like, what does that mean? They said, when someone asks you if you're okay, and I'm like, please, this is awkward enough. We're seasoned. We can figure this one out. Yeah. And she was having sex with John Hamm in the scene, I guess. He was about to go ham, and the intimacy coordinator wanted to make sure he didn't go too ham, I guess. But because it's just like, I don't understand. Like, there's a lot of fake jobs in film. Like, remember the Curb Your Enthusiasm credits after COVID?
Think about it once a month at least, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's like this credit scene of just like the guy who wiped down the counters, the guy who did the
COVID coordinator, COVID this. It was like 6 people.
Yeah, and notice that coordinator is a term. Whenever you hear the term coordinator and it's a job you haven't heard of, it's probably fake.
And it's not the NFL, although those are
exactly.
fake too.
No, that's the thing. It's like that's a long-standing job that has coordinator. But if it's a new, I worked a fake job that had that. I mean, it was the job I did was still the same, but they gave me this fake promotion with the same job titles, but then something they could like yell at me about was the new job title that I had. And it was called shift coordinator.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, so am I like a boss? Do I get to like sit on the laptop? They're like, no. You still work on the front line and grab parcel numbers and like file them and stuff. I was like, okay. They're like, yeah, we're giving you like 50 cents extra an hour. I was like, okay. And they're like, yeah, and you just got to report like, you got to like, you'll have a team of like 7 people. I'm like, oh, and I'm in charge of them. They're like, you kind of just report to us what's happening. And I'm like, okay, this sounds really fake. Yeah. And I never did. I just kind of like did my job, and I was like, well, if I see somebody fucking up, I'm just gonna like do the job and just kind of like make the day better, and just kind of like put my head down and work, and hopefully the situation gets corrected. And after a while, if something was going wrong, the first guy they go to is, well, you are a coordinator, you are a shift coordinator, so what's not going, like, this is not a job that anybody can have. I'm like, it kind of is, but anyways.
Yeah.
So the intimacy coordinator thing is interesting because I guess I've actually when I covered for the back wall, we covered the HBO Lakers show called Winning Time. They had there's HBO does this really strange thing where they have these podcasts that go with the show.
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah.
Each episode has its own like 40-minute each episode of the show serialized will have its own like 40-minute podcast explaining what happened, which I think got really popular with Westworld because nobody knows what happened in Westworld. That's a bastardization of the great Michael Crichton IP. But the like Winning Time, I don't think we needed that because that's just the Lakers. So I'm like, I don't think we needed to really quite understand what was happening there. But these podcasts, you're looking, there's credits and credits. They'll be like, and I want to thank our producer, and I want to thank the some ethics coordinator of the I'm like, of a 40-minute podcast. and it's like this guy's just like going off like Grammy speech about like how the podcast episode got done. But one episode of it, I listened to all of them in one day. And it was one of them that he interviewed the intimacy coordinator for Winning Time.
Oh, that you actually listen to this?
Yes.
You listen to this?
So, okay.
Yeah.
What do you, who kind of age, sex, and physiognomy? I don't know what this person looked like, but like, what do you think? What are you thinking when you hear there's an intimacy coordinator on an HBO show? Is it a guy?
Well, I'm thinking it could be like a Scott Wiener type, you know.
Well, yeah,
but it's probably not. Probably if that's the only male version of that.
No,
that
it most certainly is just like a Rachel Dratch, like SNL looking like woman. It most certainly is. And she was just like, yeah, and it's like everybody has such a good time, and it's like we're like laughing during the whole thing. It's like so cool, like, and it's just so nice knowing that the actress is having like a really, really good time. It's never the actor, by the way. It's always like the actress. It's like, and it's just having like a, you know, a really good time and not feeling violated and stuff. It's like, dude, make like fucking millions of dollars.
They make multiple times what we make a year doing.
Like
probably how many hours does that take a week? You know, like 4 to do. You know,
I'm sure there's some hectic things like a part of it. I won't downplay the job of acting, but like I'm sure the intimacy coordinator makes good money, but I mean like the actors, like the idea that the actor needs to feel comfortable when some of the best movies are like at least have an uncomfortable setting, and the documentary comes out 30 years later, it's like actually everybody was really mad on set there. You're like, cool, I've watched that movie 30 times and I love it though. You know, like that's my like why can't I just get that? Why can't I win in that scenario? But you notice there's a down there. The content that's coming out right now isn't really that good. It doesn't stick to the rib. It's not, you know, it's meant to be enjoyed and just tossed away behind your car seat after a shameful fast food trip. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of just the way you're supposed to ingest this stuff. And you wonder why. And I'm not saying it's just because of that, but we, instead of like, I don't think any of the greatest movies of all time have come out in the past 7 years. I don't think that's happened. I don't think that some of the there's been some great TV. There's been great TV, but it's not the. I feel safe in saying that the last 7 years, not nothing great, but nothing like eternally great has come out.
Well, isn't it part of the whole thing about acting is you're supposed to feel uncomfortable in the scenes? You know, it's
exactly
it's not. Imagine transporting Orson Welles to today's time and be like, oh yeah, we have intimacy coordinators now. He'd just be like Mac Dre face, like
you know, he's just like he would. It doesn't. Well, again, the way we've killed the rock star, we've also killed the auteur and the star director. Like it's just, I'm sorry, like Martin Scorsese now has to like kind of do like just commentary and stuff, like, and I haven't seen his new one yet, so it's not fair for me to say he doesn't make good movies anymore, but like it's just where I'm hoping that it's not an 80-year-old person. Like I don't see that star director coming, because the fact is, it's like, I'm sorry, they're in charge. Like ethical practices among like these actors, that's not a net benefit to you, the viewer, who had a bad day at work. Like that. These are for us. These things are for us.
Well, and that's like, the whole thing about sympathizing with this small sect of elite society. It is an elite aspect of society. You know, people that get to make shitty movies for a living and make millions of dollars, right? Or shows or whatever, where we're supposed to care. Oh, they got intimacy coordinators now. Thank God, dude. Thank God. You know, you know, I'm making $12 an hour, but thank God that Jennifer Aniston has an intimacy coordinator now. You know, it's just that kind of weird.
That's what I mean.
Hollywood-esque kind of thing of oh great, you know, we're supposed to care about this now. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because we do live in this culture where everything has a documentary, and we like people love like documentaries, and they want to be on this like right side of history kind of concept where they're like, well, I don't want to say that I enjoyed the thing that somebody got not raped, but like kind of raped because they didn't want to do this one scene when clearly they read the script, and chose to do the project. And I just, it doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't know. Why are we supposed to celebrate this thing? Like it just I don't know. I can't.
Well, it's like a broad collective narcissism in those sects. I feel, you know, those groups.
You don't say. No, exactly.
Yeah, that's just it is. Yeah, the Larry David COVID thing. I still just can't get over that. That's just such a people. People hustled their way into those jobs. I mean, respect, dude. Like I would do that over what I do now. You know, to make even if they fucking offer me 80 grand to do that a year, I would sell my soul for that aspect. I wouldn't like fucking, I don't know, but they're all forcing people to get vaccines and shit. I'm not about that.
Yeah, and also it's Larry David, like he's kind of a neurotic Jewish guy. It plays a little bit. Like it's okay. And,
remember that episode where like one of the guys is like a COVID hoarder, and he's the bad guy because he hoarded all the hand sanitizer and shit.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, how fucking,
I know. It's just how the mighty have fallen,
dude. I know.
And
that's that was the punchline for a whole episode. That was the whole. That was like the final scene. It was so bad.
Oh yeah. So I found that there's a intimacy coordinator training program that you can go through. And
how many do we need, dude? How many fucking?
Well, again, these are all just so. What if you're the coordinator of the intimacy coordinator training program?
I know, yeah, it gets like meta, you know.
Yeah,
that's where you make the big bucks, dude. That's where you make the big. Yeah, that's
how about
where
this?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Can you see that right now?
Wait, hang on.
This is a
advanced trend. Okay,
look at the picture.
Dude, first of all, the hairstyle.
I know. No, it's so if you're listening and you're not on YouTube right now, there are 4
this full screen. So
I am not going to assume genders here because I truly don't know. There are 4 masked people that look like they would say be gay, do crimes, and you can become a certified intimacy professional at this is idcprofessionals.com pathway to certification. So this is all this is.
I think shopping cart in the corner, you could like buy the course.
No, I bet that's what it is. Like film sets will like, all right, like we got to train on site for this one, or like everyone has. It's like 100%. CPR. Like CPR, everyone has to be certified in it,
which actually serves a function of,
you know, like, might need it on me if I have to take the.
Also, could we address what's with the black N95s now? Those are like the stylish ones now, or is the all like not the white ones, but the midnight black ones? I see those everywhere now.
Yeah, I do.
Coming back. It's like
I think people don't want to stick out as much with it. I think
it's like a little camo,
or perhaps there were complaints about contouring to certain tones, but like a Band-Aid, exactly, get a dinosaur one or like a whatever, just something like that. But no, that's what I mean. It's like all these things, and then you wonder why when there's like this writer's strike or like any of these like guild strikes or anything like that. I have no idea if this is a union position in there, but when you hear about like. So the minute this industry gets formed as a panic and whatever to Me Too or whatever, or Harvey Weinstein or all and then Stanley Kubrick documentaries or whatever, all these things that come out that perhaps make a state of fear like need for a demand for intimacy coordinators. Then like when can you decide like, okay, guys, the intimacy has been coordinated, like so we're good. Like I know what we can and can't do now. Wink, wink, whatever. But like, I know what we can and can't do now. They'll be like, well, I mean, so many people's like, you don't want to get rid of an industry because that like, these are people's jobs.
I just don't get how. Yeah, first of all, like, how do you get fired from a job like this?
I just it's like, oh, John Hamm accidentally penetrated her. You fucking bitch! Like, get off the set. Yeah.
What is even the raunchiest movie? What is it, like 4 minutes per movie, per fucking, tops, right? Like, it's just crazy. Like, how, again, I just don't understand the time. Like, what's your 9 to 5? What do you do all day? Why do you clock in and what do you start to work? Like,
there's been a kind of a backlash.
You just keep doing the modules on the website over and over again, and then show
the
up on the
blobs.
scene.
The blobs are just molding into each other, and you have to be the one to separate the blobs. It's like a very interactive touch screen game, and I know I haven't seen the show. But the Sam Levinson show, the Idol that came out with the one with The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp, I guess there's like for one of her music videos, because the concept is that she's a pop star and it's like this debaucherous show. Yeah. There's like one part where they lock the intimacy coordinator like in a closet so they can like film and stuff and like play a prank on it, and it's like people had like legit like think pieces about that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's like this is something you didn't know existed.
Exactly.
Like you didn't know it existed, but now it becomes imperative that we protect it, which is 1000%. That's liberalism. That's literally how liberalism is. It's like you didn't know this existed until 5 minutes ago, and now it is the crux of your life and all of your political arguments.
It's weird how quick you can kind of float these trial balloons, these ideas. What do you think about this? And immediately people flip to the don't want to be a bad person mode, right?
Yeah,
versus like a
fucking person. Yeah.
Whereas like people like us, maybe even too much, we're like, oh, that's fucking bullshit, like immediately. Yeah, it's like, but in this case, you know what I mean? Where it's just like I immediately flip to the this is horseshit, like right off the bat for any of this new stuff, and it's just, I don't know, it's just fucking weird, man. It's a trip, yeah. But just the fear, something you didn't know about 10 minutes ago, right? Is it just has completely become the new thing. I know if there's people in my family that are like that.
Always.
How did you? Yeah, like if I would have interviewed yourself 2 years ago, you would have laughed at yourself now. It's weird.
Well, I was deeply problematic 2 years ago. That's the thing, and I'm constantly working on getting better, aka lamer and not as cool.
And that's kind of like this castle that's built on, it just keeps getting built up and up and up, and the foundation is so wobbly that you just have no kind of framework over what's up and what's down anymore, right?
No, you're not.
And it's just kind of it's not like a real thing. Yeah.
You remember with masks? Like people would be like, these are getting like really annoying, and you'd be like, yeah. Fuck them, we shouldn't wear them. Well, I mean, they work, and you're like, I don't know, do they? And they're like, do you really want to be that guy? They always say that, like, you want to be that guy. It's like, yeah,
yes, I do. Yeah.
And they're like, you're putting in so much time and energy. It's like, no, actually, I put in 12 seconds into it.
Yeah.
And just said I didn't want to do it, actually.
Is there any example of because it's almost like the more BS it is, the more we have to pretend to coalesce around this stuff, versus, is there anything that's real that actually has this effect? I'm trying to think of anything
that actually has the panic behind it. Like, no, I don't think so. I really don't. Like, it's tough, and it's like you feel like it's lazy kind of logic to just anytime some big panic happens to just be like, that's not real. But I haven't seen a real one in a while. I've been batting 1,000.
Yeah.
But like by sheer just like programming, I've programmed myself at this point to just be like, oh wow, there's all, because first off, how much sex do you even see in movies and TV shows now? It's not that much.
That's what I'm saying. That's
like,
what I'm
it's not nearly, if you were to watch like a TV show in the 90s or whatever. And some people, which is weird because how much porn do we have on the internet right now? So it's like there are people who, I'm sure there is intimacy coordinators in porn. I'm sure there are, but like I just mean like, it's like like, wouldn't it be funny if like you ask somebody and they're like, "What do you work at?" It's like, "I work at Brazzers," and they're like, "Oh, really?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm an intimacy coordinator." They're like, "Oh,
yeah."
I had more questions, but now I don't. Yeah. But I'm sure there are. But it's like there are people who like you'll see it like. There in the Oppenheimer, there's like a sex scene of Florence Pugh, which, I get it. If I was the coordinator, I'd be like, let's not like, stop. But like, let's not do that. But there was like a sex scene with her, and there was all these like Zoomers that I saw like under replies of like major posts about, was the Oppenheimer sex scene, like there's nudity in Oppenheimer, and they're like, and it was so unnecessary and it was so bad, it was like so whatever, and like there would even be people like rape, which you really don't show in movies anymore, is like people would go like, yeah, and rape, it's like just so unnecessary. I saw one guy, I remember I'm not saying this is like the thought of most of America, but one guy was just like, and it's like, it seems so unnecessary to the plot, and I'm like, no, rape's actually a pretty big plot device, I think. Like it actually does like pretty sure it actually has a purpose, like in something, like, and but it's funny because like you don't want to show racism in movies, like even like the like racism, rape, or anything like that, like they don't want those things shown in movies, but also they want people to panic about them all the time. So it's like this strange thing where it's like, okay, like we're gonna make a movie about like, you know, racism in the antebellum South or whatever, but like people will complain that like the plantation owner actor said the N-word or something, you know what I mean, and they'll be like, I didn't like how Michael Fassbender said the N-word in there and stuff. And they're like, well, I mean, it's racist, right? And they're like, yeah, it's racist. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what the movie's about, is racism. And it's like, yeah, but it's not something I want to see. It's like, well, yeah, I'm tired of hearing about it. Wait, what? Like, they'd be like, no, you need to hear about it constantly, but you can never see it displayed, which is like the very Voldemort, H.P. Lovecrafty, you know, kind of thing, where it's like this thing that is pure evil. But if we were to show it to you in a clearly fictional format, that would make everybody else start doing it. There is this magical sorcery element to sex and rape and like racism it displayed in art, which some of the most popular movies ever are based off of those things.
It's like it's kind of weird. It's like it's ironically the old boomer, like video games will make kids want to murder people type idea. You know, it's very interesting how these things just find a new home.
But it was weird because like, you know, I could see a point where like that's all correct, but like I don't think like rape in movies makes somebody want to like rape somebody. Like I don't think that's the case. But like I could see
getting ideas. And
a guy. It's like, why do you have a notepad? Like, that's where he went wrong. It's like, but no, but like I could see like, you know, certain things like violence for kids, like bored kids. Yeah, absolutely. Like you watch Jackass and like you go beat up your dad or something like that and start slapping your dad around or something like that because you watched like Bam Margera do it. But guess what? Like your dad hits you back and you learn.
And I think,
Phil Margera doesn't hit Bam Margera back. Yeah.
I think the broader point is we're clearly careful enough with everything now. We could reel it. We could let the reel out.
It never gets reeled back though, because then you're taking away jobs from people. It's like, well, guess what? The job is new. It was never like you're supposed to have a 40-year career as an intimacy coordinator.
Yeah.
And you know, some of them are like, can I work remote?
Yeah.
You know, some of them are. And I would love to apply for the job as an intimacy coordinator and be bad at it. Like, you know, just be playing like Candy Crush on my phone or whatever that weird like Arnold Schwarzenegger war game is on my iPhone, and I'd be like playing it on the phone, and they're like, and then all of a sudden the studio is just like, dude, we focus group this movie, and it's like, dude, you missed a lot of like really racy sex,
but you can't be fired. It's like firing a teacher or something.
You're like, dude, I was just going with the flow, man. Like I thought it worked. Everybody seemed happy, and they're like, yeah, but we're not. You know, and it's just I could see that being the funniest thing. But
from the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids.
This was some of our friend of My Fitness Feelings posted the other day that I felt the need to revisit. We've talked about this in a sense, but I think now that Alex Jones is back on Twitter, which is a big thing, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I'm glad that like he is back, but I hate the fact that this is like some epic like Elon win. You know what I mean? Like, he Twitter account of creates this nauseating debate between two parties that I don't particularly care for, you know. And one thing I don't like about it is like, and Fitness Feelings pointed this out, it's like, you know, now there is like true controlled opposition. now. Like they're the anti-COVID people. Like you'll see these people that are anti-COVID, anti this, anti, anti that, anti-World Economic Forum, and then you watch it and you're like, man, that is so watered down and like bullshit. And it's not really getting censored, and it's all it is creating these super insulated debates, controlled debates, and not getting to anything. And like, part of you wants to sit back and be like, yeah, but it is kind of like our guy a little bit. It's still scratches a little bit of what we're talking about, and a little bit is I understand both sides of people saying no, fuck that, and then also some people saying no, that's it's team sports. They got to be on our side. And I guess that has me thinking, and we've talked about this a lot, especially when it came to like taking the COVID jab and things like that, where it was like there's probably not going to be a mass resistance to anything nowadays that completely checks all your boxes. I don't think that's going to be the case. And I'm not saying that you need to concede anything you're saying, but you need to then realize that it's actually up to just you to make the personal decision, to just be like, actually, I need to weigh out the consequences of my action because I don't have a lot of people on my side. But also, if you feel so passionately about the thing you're opposed to, the measures, I'm trying to just be careful because of YouTube, but the measures in place by either your workplace or, private businesses that you shop at or whatever, you do need to kind of bite the bullet a little bit and say, well, I'm just not going to do that, and I'll take whatever comes my way. Now, I'm not saying take money out of your pocket or anything, but you've then made the decision at least, and it's a sad decision to have to make, but it's at least like, no, I need to have my source of income or something like that. But some of us were ready to just be like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I can tell some people were waiting for a mass uprising.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, do you really believe that then?
Yeah, it's like it's coming kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the perfect opposition.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, sometimes you just get punched in the fucking face and you have to just react to it.
Yeah.
You don't have the time to like organize and make a perfect, it's the classic Mike Tyson quote, everybody's planning to get punched in the mouth. And like you sometimes you get punched in the mouth and then now what? And a lot of times you can't look around and be like, who's with me and beating this guy's ass? Sometimes it's just you.
Yeah.
And I think for some people that's a black pill. For me, it's not.
No. Yeah.
Right. Like where it's like, I was ready. I'm glad I worked in a blue collar job. I guess that was kind of the trade off as opposed to like kind of the white collar sector where they kind of had to cave in to whatever the private company was asking them to do during COVID and all that. At least at a blue collar company, they floated it out. They've tried to float out certain mandates and certain things. The hell, they even turned like labor union offices into jab centers, which was very, very strange. I walked in one time and was like, what? And
that's
so
weird. Yeah.
No, it was like overnight it happened. It was so weird. And I realized I was like, you know what? Like I'm comfortable with whatever martyr level I have to be to not do this. And you can't do it for everything. There's certain things where I'm like, it's not that big of a deal to me. But for that, it was. And stop looking for the Daily Wire to have your take. Stop looking for weird like raw milk, raw milk trad farmers that pop up randomly with like 100,000 followers for them to like to have the same thing as you, to have the exact same take, the exact same like economic view as you and all that stuff before you can then make the decision. Because a lot of people just go, well, it's just me, I guess I'll cave in. It's like, no, you yourself have a lot of power.
I think that there's just I don't know. I think I realized I was wired different before COVID with a few things where I was like, I'm and I don't necessarily enjoy it, but I am comfortable being that guy that's like, what the fuck is going on? Even publicly, even making like a little fuss about it, And I don't know, man. It's just it's just with COVID, I feel it was clear, after like month 9 that this thing was just going to trickle on forever. And it was just there was not going to be any clear cut moment. There was some cool stuff like the Freedom Convoy and all that, but it was just there was never going to be any resolution. It was only just the only silver lining was it was going to kind of align some more people that might not have otherwise been aligned, which I think is cool. But yeah, you just have to make these decisions for yourself and realize there's no payoff. There's no, you might get a Substack career out of it, you know, or you might get like something, which is cool. I'm not hating on that at all.
Yeah, no,
you know?
ride the wave.
Yeah, but I'm just like, it's just not. It's never going to be. That's the thing about like the other side truly doesn't get about us is they think that this is all some fun joyride that we're all just having the time. We're just making like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
God, I wish.
Like fighting COVID and just spreading misinformation, having that time. It sucks, dude. It fucking sucks. Like your family thinks you're a fucking weirdo. You have people that talk to you about the vaccine like you've already gotten it or whatever, and you're just like, it's like the whole thing sucks, dude. It's not fun for any of us, I don't think.
But you've made the decision though. You made the decision, and you already know that had you caved and been able to have these meaningless conversations that you just brought up right now, they're not good. You just value the relationship you have with the person, but then you're like, well, that person doesn't value any of that shit about me. It's not a two-way street. So you realize that. Yeah, you realize
but it fortifies you though, right? Where you feel you're like, oh, if I could conquer this, I could conquer a whole lot more, and I might not need to, but I know I could. And I think there's a spiritual element to all this for sure. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything spiritual to be gained otherwise. Realizing how much of a fool you've been over freaking out over and masking over a virus that probably was never going to take you down to begin with excessively. But there is something spiritual to be gained about standing up for yourself and being the lone voice, in the abyss and all that. And I think it kind of, so that is where the benefit lie, I think, right? Benefit lay is in flexing that muscle that you didn't know you had, right? Or you didn't know you needed to use in today's world. Right, where you just thought you could just go to work every day and just live and do your thing, But it's just fucking. It's not worth it. It's not fun. There's so much more fun aspects of life. Yeah,
it is, and it is. It's. I mean, you got to just rip the Band-Aid off because it does suck, and people all just constantly avoid that Band-Aid ripping off moment of, and I avoided it for a while. I'd dance around certain questions. Like I didn't lie. I didn't tell people like, oh no, I love all this stuff. I'm gonna, I can't wait for my Pfizer shot or whatever. I didn't say that to anybody, but I would always dance around and be like, we'll see. I'm just gonna wait some time, like see what happens. Like I was doing that. And then after a while I was just like, this person's like waiting on, this person asked me a question with only one possibility for an answer.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, that's my friend. That's somebody like that I deeply care about. Well, it's like maybe it is somebody I deeply care about, and that's why I'm struggling. But like, and I don't doubt that person cares about you. But like, it's just not. You're not on hippie shit.
You're not going to be best friends after that. You're not
exactly.
You're not going to be.
The foundation's not there. The foundation is not there. That's like when I meet somebody and I can immediately call them gay or retarded. And not have it become a thing. That's when I know that there's a foundation. There's like you slap the hood on that bad boy. Like, that's this thing holds a lot. Like
it's amazing.
This friendship. Where I had friends who like when I didn't take the shot, they were like, "You're a fucking idiot," but they hung out with me.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "That's fine.
It's fine." And I think about this a lot with diet stuff, where in nutrition and the whole base, health sphere, where the gayest thing you could do is only be friends with that one group, whether it's the cigar guys or whether it's the Pete people or the vegans or whether it's like the body. Yeah, for sure. You need some friends in those groups, but you need to have some people that are completely like, well, that's fucking gay, fuck you, dude. And it's like, you need some people like that in your life that are completely orthogonal to that. Otherwise you just become weird, dude. It's just all bad, I hate whenever I meet the vegan that's only has vegan friends. I'm like, nope, I'm out, dude. I'm like, we're not gonna be. No, that's like, there's
They're trying to build that Julianne Moore igloo in safe, like for themselves. Yeah. That's it, and 100%. like allow only the person that is as pure as you in there, which is like that's what we fought against.
And you can never do enough for them. You can never be exactly, you know, and you can never be you're just like a projection for them to project onto. You're not a real person that could be a real friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's like this weird like there's like this weird like roller coaster tycoon element of their life where they're just building something and you're just a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost an element of their narcissism when really you're just like, hey man, just like I'm down to like go to the fucking movies with you. I'm down to like go hang out. Like we'll do all this stuff. Like my relationship hasn't changed. Like I have to brush that stuff off. That's because you know my situation is not in power. We're just literally trying to stay afloat by not injecting this clearly awful shit into their body. I mean, it pops up every single day.
Dude.
Like every day you hear about something, and
I'm
tired.
Was fine that we would still be in the right, but the fact that it's so obviously horseshit.
God, it's bad,
dude. Kirsch is on point, dude. I'm sorry, dude. Like he might go too hard a little bit, but like he's like his whole thing is like they'll be like he'll post like a death thing and like, oh, died suddenly, right? And then people will be like, Steve, like that guy committed suicide, and he'll be like, oh, it was probably because of the side effects. He couldn't hang. I'm like, dude, just don't. Please.
Yeah, that's
we don't need to do this, man. Like,
we don't gotta win every battle.
We
don't have to. Not everything is fodder. But
that being said, though, it's true, dude. This shit is killing people, dude. It's crazy, man.
It's killing people, and it's just like there's this like again, does the world look as cool as it did 3 to 4 years ago? No. Nope. It doesn't. Like it's objective. You ask anybody, and there's a million different things people can diagnose that are wrong with the world. There could be people that polar opposite, but they do agree it looks worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think we know why it doesn't. But at the end of the day, like life is pretty much just a bunch of different personal decisions that you make. Like it's like again, if people are waiting for this collectivism thing, I'm like I don't see it. I don't see it happening. We are too atomized, like as a culture. Like perhaps that was an op to break up any form of collectivism. But hell, I'm not even feeling like that much of a team player. You know what I mean? Like we do more solo episodes than we do now. Like because it's just kind of it's easier to just kind of do it this way and say the thing. I don't feel like this big like huge crowd of like march against this. Like none of that stuff appeals to me, even if I agree with the cause, because I'm just like at the end of the day I can only make the personal decision myself and hope that I can stay afloat.
I think that advanced societies master certain aspects of this. In Conversations with God, one of my favorite book series. It's not for everyone, but give it a shot. It's not really a religious thing or anything like that. But in that text, they say one of the main tenets is because they kind of tell us how like humans are living life right now and how maybe a more advanced society or species, what have you, or aliens that have figured it out would do it otherwise, you know? And one of the tenets is, one of the pillars is, you know, ours is not the only way. It's merely a different way. You know, they might do things different. Just having that idea of that you live on a fucking planet with billions of people. We're all going to have. So the collectivism thing is, yes, that we are collectively connected in a spiritual sense, that everything is all one at the end of the day, the broadest picture. There is no separation between anything. You know, that like peak of the shroom trip feeling that you feel is real. That is how reality is structured. But also, I'm good on you do your fucking bullshit medicine. I'll do my fucking bullshit naturopathy thing that we both think is horseshit for each other, you know, and like we're not going to kill each other over it, you know, and the collective thing is it's dangerous. You gotta let people be free. There's a libertarian aspect of life that is important. I think never goes away. You know, that even at the highest level or whatever, that you never, you're always on an individual journey at some point, you know, even when you share it with other people and everything, there's always going to be a reference point that's strictly for your own individual consciousness to grow and evolve.
Yeah. And you have to understand, like, then when that happens, like, if you want to go along with stuff that you know is bad, just think of all of that growth you've sacrificed. right? Because at the end of the day, like, okay, you might make a decision that keeps you at this job that, you know, perhaps you like, but might just like the benefits of it. You might not actually like doing it. If you do like doing it, that's great. Then I guess, yeah, keep it however you can. But there's a lot of people that are in jobs that they feel that they need to have because of whatever schooling, academic thing that they've done. Now they've gotten to a certain income level, gotten to a certain walk of life that they, or a certain lifestyle, I should say, that they feel they should stay at, and it would look weird if they dipped out of that or went a little below. It would get the people talking. But you do have to understand that, like, life can come super crashing down on you, like, all the time. Like, you could just, I mean, like, I don't want to get bad, but like, you could get like hurt or in, you know, like a bad injury, or you know, fired, or that company collapses, or something. A lot of things happen, like something bad happening in the family. These things do happen to us. I don't wish this on anyone, but these things do happen. And then you realize, you're just like, man, none of that stuff matters.
No.
Like, none of this stuff matters. Like, of course you want your money, secure the bag, absolutely, it's bag season. But other than that, some of this stuff isn't worth it. Like, I hate to say it, and that's like this, you know, some people say that's nihilism, but I think at the end of the day, as long as you see that there's personal growth happening, I don't think that this is all for nothing. Like, I think there is, because you do see people who, like, were workaholics their whole life, and they'll be in like their 80s, and they're just like, damn, man, I didn't like do anything. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard that from some people, and you hear people in hospice care all the time when they're on their deathbed, and they're just like, man, I'm just not that happy. You know? And if you are, and I imagine a lot of our listeners, if you are so passionate about like bucking certain state, you know, methods and practices that were put on our society just at a drop of a dime, if you are that passionate about it, you have to ask, like, is stunting your personal growth and honestly your alpha beta ranking, is that worth it? I mean, and like, that's always what it is. All actions have consequences. Hell, even the ones that I think are good actions, I know that I'll lose something from them by doing them. But I tend, a lot of times when I know I made the right decision in my heart, a lot of times the thing that I lost isn't something I end up missing all that much.
Exactly. If something you love supposedly, or something that supposedly loves you, forces you to be someone you're not, you know, what is that really? It's time to evolve and grow and do a new thing, right?
I think that's exactly right. And it's just like, man, I don't know, like, I guess I've said all that to say this, is that don't wait for the next big group to jump on. There's a lot of people that liked Bernie Sanders, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot, like, that's a thing, right? Like, you come from like the leftist background of Bernie Sanders. Now the big thing they liked about that was that there was this collective of people that wanted healthcare and, you know, free college and blah blah blah, all this, you know, stuff that ended up being just, you know, stuff to funnel up to Democrats and shoot up.
And funny, and looking back on it, those people are always fighting with each other and didn't really agree on much.
No, exactly.
That's the funny.
I just mean the collective hasn't really happened. And I think it's what you said. It's like, actually a true collective is a bunch of people seeing each other's differences and actually perhaps celebrating them in a way, maybe not celebrating them outright, but just being like, hey, it's kind of cool that we're not all the same. But then that's the concept of the collective, like a true collective. But we absolutely do not do that right now. In fact, and it's in an era where we shout takes out into the, like, for whoever to see. I think that our differences are absolutely the differences are highlighted, they're boosted, they're magnified on all sorts of media.
Definitely boosted.
Boosted as hell. The 3x boosted. And they're for everyone to see, and it is a very scary reaction when you see somebody that you know that was once a critical thinker that just sees one thing from one person said, and they immediately cast them off and don't care what happens to them. They don't want bad things to happen to that person. They're not necessarily saying I want bad things to happen, but when a bad thing does happen, they're like, well, they did say that thing. And you're like, wow, like, this is the person, like, these are people that, like, I, you know, shared fun moments of my life with, and you're like, damn, that's crazy that you applaud such swift and harsh punishment. Just for the fact that if you were to oppose it,
Yeah.
That would make you one of us.
Yeah. I know. That's the weird part for me. That's what I can't get down with. There are some people that I like in my life that are they're always very tribal, saying stuff about like MAGA people and stuff, and like gently comparing them to like Hitler and stuff. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, what are you doing? You know, it's just like.
Also, yeah, just watering
Where we're
down
at
Hitler.
right now?
Watering down Hitler. Like, I'm like, man, if there's a new Hitler every month, what was Hitler?
Exactly, dude. Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, was he like? It's like he's the worst guy ever, but there's actually a new Hitler every month.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, it's like, man, like, you know, I don't think we, you know, that gets into some weird revisionism, I guess, like that you don't want to get to. And it's like, yeah, with like Israel and Palestine, it's like these people, like, dude, like half of my friends can't point to it on a map, and I know that's like a classic like boomer thing, like why do you care about that? You can't even like locate it on the map. And I know some of like there's people, and I'm not even talking about like Twitter people, but like people that I see at like my work that are freaking out about like Israel and Palestine because they think World War III is going to happen or whatever. And I'm always just like, dude, chill out, just chill for a second. First off, if we get bombed, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
like you're gonna you're gonna panic. That your last moments of your life are gonna panic. Like, yeah, it probably will be scary. I'm not gonna lie, but like if we were to get bombed, like, bro, like
what is there to do? Yeah,
yeah. If you're so sure about that, you should just start like, you know, getting your affairs in order spiritually, I should say. And and it's like, you know, and then all this ends up doing is just us just pouring money into Israel. And it's like, look, whatever, I get it. Some of our listeners might be pro-Israel or whatever, and it's like, look, if you want to donate money, whatever, you want to donate money to Israel, I just think we could have got a better deal, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, all our taxes, like that
was a Jewish joke, by the way, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
should have haggled a little.
Yeah.
Don't take their first offer. You know?
And what do you want from me? You want like all of us, all our tax dollars go there anyway.
I know.
We don't verbally support it though. Sorry, you know what I mean? It's just like we're all paying for it.
There's a weird sorcery element to like cosmic sorcery element to like something that I thought was really materialist, like this like liberal like materialist thing, but everything, it's like words get you banned from things, like simple words, and if you don't show outright support of something, that means you're actually causing death to happen. We all have blood on our hands. They love putting blood on our hands. It's always happened. Just blood
life
on
is in your hands, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Blood on your hands. Blood on your hands. Hey, you said that. Blood on your hands. You know, just all the we've all killed people with our words. Apparently, we've all done that. So it's just they love doing stuff like that. But it's just
the endless drama.
I know. When does it end? Like when does the like peak panic? When does that hit?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that I want to see it. But
it's like a wolf tone. You know those that you ever heard that auditory trick where it always sounds like it's rising. You know, and it's just never. Ooh.
Yeah,
but it's like it's not. It's like a fucking. I forget what the you know. But it's it's like one of those things that never ends, but it's always rising. That's what it feels like. We're on like a fucking treadmill.
I know, and crazy. It's just like, man, we've just built an anxious culture.
Yeah.
And then we just pour just coal into like that furnace, you know what I mean? Into that.
I liked Dave Smith. I really like Dave Smith a lot. I like he's like like we were talking about Dana White, where you're like, I agree, you know, like when you hear him talk, you know, and
you're waiting to not agree, and then you're like, nope, I agree. Yeah.
His whole thing, he was talking about Israel Palestine. He's like, okay, look, even if you do think that Palestine is this huge fucking terrorist deal that has all this power that can like cause this endless destruction in the Middle East, blah blah blah, wouldn't you want Israel to chill with their like social media and shit and not have them do all these crazy posts and like antagonist shit? Like, wouldn't you be like, yo, like let's just tone it, you know, like kind of where it's just like, you're going a little hard here, you know, we could all die because of the shit you post on Twitter or whatever, you know.
Right.
I thought that was a funny. I was like, damn, I never thought of it that way, but that's true.
Yeah. And like it's like it just reminds like it's all these like highly academic debates too, like just academic, like you don't know anything about it. It's like, yeah, I don't know anything about it, so stop asking me to get passionate about it. You know, like that's fair. Like I agreed. You're correct in that I don't know. So I'm not trying like but when when my I don't know turns into like, do I need to send a bunch of money over there? Oh, no, you do, because you don't know. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Like,
give me some books to read and I'll read it. If you read Dissolving Illusions, let's do a little trade. Let's do a fucking little, let's get vaccine weird. You don't care about the shit I care about,
So exactly. So it's exactly it's never that. And then like, well, I have all this like philosophy and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I know people that read all this like philosophy shit, and they're really dumb. Like like they're like, I've read Hegel or whatever, Kant, and all these Lacan and all these things, and they know, and perhaps they're lying about that. I know a lot of people will say, well, they're lying, and I'm like, okay, but if they're not, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's why I like fiction, because at least it's entertaining.
Exactly.
It's like, if I don't gain IQ points from it, and first off, half the time fiction authors will just launder philosophy in their fiction, and so it's like, cool.
Now, what's
cool.
I think philosophy should be like a little window dress if you want to go a little deeper on a subject, and you're like, damn, this guy's spitting bars. Like, what else does he have to say? Versus people that just go like, because the thing is if you read a fiction book, you're like, that was fucking cool. I liked it, even if it I might look back on it and be like, oh, compared to this other shit, wasn't my favorite, but at the time, Versus like philosophy, if you read a dense 700-page book of philosophy, you're so bought into it, you kind of you trick yourself into believing that you have to agree.
Otherwise, it was a waste of time.
Yeah, and it's
otherwise you spent a month reading something you hate. Yeah,
I feel that's the sickness that infects a lot of medical people, where they know it's bullshit, but they're like, well, I mean, I spent 10 hours a day doing this 6 days a week for fucking
100%
forever, so I guess I gotta go along.
That's why you need to take need to take Truvantrix, this new drug that came out that perhaps will sever your kidney from the rest of your body, but might relieve your tension headache. Maybe.
Just perhaps.
I think I read a lot of these fucking books, dude, and I went to school for a long time. And you need to trust me about nutrition, which was 45 minutes of my 8 years medical school. But I also think between philosophy and like medical school, I think people want to be in college forever. It's Van Wilder shit. Because like if you keep reading philosophy, you're just like constantly in college, I feel like. And like there's gonna be philosophy people, no, bro, like you got to read this one. Fine. I like, I'm not averse to it, but the guy who knows every philosopher. And then you like look and it's like, dude, you can't even handle the most minor obstacle in life.
Yeah.
And you're like, why would I clearly you're not selling these books very well.
Yeah.
Like, and they're the ones that hate on self-help and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, well, the self-help one actually might help you solve the problem. Philosophy might just make you realize actually it's fine. Why I'm a loser.
Self-help's way cooler than philosophy, dude. Yeah.
I mean, it probably is philosophy in a way, but like it's got way too bright colors on the cover. And too many suns and beautiful flowers on the front. It's supposed to be this cold, dark, like prison-like thing where it's like Penguin Classics presents Hegel. 800 pages of nonsense.
And also there's I've tried to get into like there is some cool like non-materialist philosophy, like there's like panpsychics and stuff, right? But even that, it's just all like a mental circle where it's like, where their main thing is like, that none of us really know what consciousness is. You can't describe it. You can't put a finger on it. You can't scientifically define it. It's literally a hard problem in science. That's the name of it.
Can you skip to the end?
Yeah.
No, I just wonder, is there a Spark Notes? I feel like Spark Notes for philosophy. Right. I feel like that is like where it's just like, okay, what does this guy think? This is
because if you can't make a Spark Notes out of it, it's probably
right. Like what's the crux of it? I don't need you to see you prove it. The 97 examples that you have of it. Like, I just want to know, like, what do you think? All right, cool. Then if I like it, I can go in and be like, all right, now I see that like in the French Revolution, this was actually the case or whatever. That makes sense. But to me, I'm just like, I don't know. Like that's all this stuff that's just like philosophy, the AP history stuff, like Jack says, and all that. I'm just like, that is so not in my wheelhouse at all.
Yeah.
But I think it all feeds into like this panic, this widespread panic thing that we're in right now. And
yeah,
not saying don't care, but I'm saying pick a couple things you care about and make the personal decision.
And also, I just like sorry for anyone that actually does read philosophy and likes it. I know we've definitely had some guests that.
No, I like when other people tell me. I love when other people tell me in 5 minutes or less the philosophy thing.
But when when I went to college, I hated those guys. Dude. I was like, these guys fucking suck, dude. These like the professors and the undergraduates, dude.
It's just like the last person talking wins usually. Like those things, it's like debate and philosophy are that way, where it's just like, well, I don't. Where you're like, this is gay. They're like, haha, exactly. That's where I have you now. Where you think this is gay, and you're like, well, it's gay. Yeah.
Whereas at least like biology nerds, like they're just workaholics or whatever, they're just grinding, and shit like that. Yeah, exactly.
I know. Philosophy stuff, it's like, bro, write a work of fiction, like with the thing that like launder this in some characters, like let's get a narrative going.
Exactly.
I'm in. Like that's you'll see some Freud shit in like these books. You're like, okay, cool, that's tight. Like I can, and if I want to expand on that, I can. But no.
And it's just like, well, I would say like a guy like Terrence McKenna is a philosopher, right? But in the way that is engaging and entertaining and not trying to alienate you or trying to one up you or
literally trying to alienate you. Actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying to put the aliens in you, and or the the elves and things like that. But well, on that note, guys, I don't know what we got planned for Christmas. I might just have a Substack one for you guys, because I feel like if we put an episode out on Christmas, nobody listens anyways. As you should. Spend time with your family. If your personal decisions didn't alienate you from them, but if they did, we'll definitely put the Substack one out there. We got Gain of Fiction coming up this Friday. H.P. Lovecraft. That was with our boy Aiden McMahon. That was a wonderful, wonderful talk. I definitely want to keep coming back to the H.P. Lovecraft short story well. There's much to discuss there. Perhaps pull some things from his amazing r/Lovecraft Reddit page. Probably the best subreddit I've ever been on. It's amazing. Good and bad. There's horrors. It's basically it is Lovecraft. It is ultimate, his Reddit is Lovecraft. Is Lovecraftian in a sense that like you shouldn't be there. This is bad. You're gonna hate it, but you want more. And then you irreparably damage yourself by gendering Cthulhu. So that's coming out on Friday. Very good episode on that. And then we'll be back with you guys next week for regularly scheduled programming. I'm gonna drop a piece from Montgomery Carlo coming up pretty soon too. And I just went on they're going to put them out in a different way, but go support and follow them on Twitter, Montgomery Carlo and Big Mac McCarthy. They're getting a cool show together. And perhaps
when are we going on that?
Well, I went. I think they want you. They want to. I think they want to.
Oh, they're doing that. Yeah.
They want to deconstruct the dish. A little bit. Yeah.
A couple guys have done that to us.
I like it. I like doing it on our end. I like pulling the guy. I think that's good. So
we should do it. We should bring both of them on for a whole thing.
Though. I agree. I agree.
That'd be fun.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and so that was so that's cool. Be on the lookout for that. I think they're gonna they're stacking them up right now, so they're gonna put them out so soon. So check that out. Those guys are great. Very fun hang. And well, I think feel comfortable saying we'll be on Agitator. So check that out. Support the boys. Buy all their work and their books.
Boys in Blue.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Boys in Blue. Back the Blue. Agitator podcast. Back the Blue. I'm sure they would agree totally without any nuance whatsoever. But anyways, we'll be on there. And you got to watch a samurai movie before that. You know that?
Yeah, I'm like a quarter of the way through it.
Yo Jimmy, Yo Jimbo, that'll be fun. Kurosawa,
this alpha ass Japanese dude.
I know it's so funny how the Clint Eastwood movies, where it's literally those. Love that.
But it's a western. It's literally from the Far East.
Exactly. Love it. Absolutely love it. So on that note, guys, everyone have a safe week. Catch you guys next time.